Hello, how are you? Oh, I spent forever setting up the stream today. I was planning on going live like actually quite early, but then I had some major audio issues. Let me just see if I can get the chat here in the... Yeah, so let me show you. I had some... I might have actually put it somewhere else. Yeah, so I had some huge audio issues with my some crackling audio, and I'm pretty sure it was because of the Elgato HD60S Plus. It's been bothering me for years. It's actually kind of yeah. So that hopefully that opening song set the mood for how it's gonna be a chill Friday stream. Hope you're doing well. Did you get married? No, it's just an engagement ring, so you know it will happen, but it's not yet. Yeah. Oh, someone's here. Nice. Yeah. How? I don't know what the time zone is for people that are watching this. For me, it's 3 in the afternoon. I started preparing the stream at 9 a.m. this morning, and I was like, "This." It's gonna take forever to figure out this audio issue, but I did figure out the audio issue, and I've been struggling with it for many months actually. So it was worth it to spend this entire day, trying to figure that out. And then I also came up with this song that was, yeah, you heard it at the beginning. It was this like simple rhythm, and then this. It's too dark. Yeah, so I had some fun playing that in the opening. Yeah, I shouldn't start these streams with playing piano. It creates too much pressure for streaming. So it should be a lower barrier of entry if I want to stream. So, but we do have some. I do have some projects planned for today. I was thinking I could show you something I've been working on. I'm gonna open up this one. Yeah, so I've been working on I call it the Polybot, because there's an upcoming video where I required a humanoid character for the idea to work. So I've made this robot design. I'm super happy about it. It's I've always wanted to make like a humanoid robot that could be like my own robot, and I can use it for creating animations of different types. So it's based on a circuit board texture. Here you can see that I was maybe I can even open this circuit board generator. It's a CodePen project by Ben Matthews. So here you can see that you can just change this text up here, the cell size, wire length, and you get this texture here, that is like this circuit board texture. And then you can just save it as a PNG. So that's what I did. And then it looks like this because of the node setup. So let me just show you the nodes here. Perhaps I should go up here so I don't accidentally hide important information. Here you can see it's basically this, yeah, the texture like this. Then it's isolated, and then it's a basic texture for the subsurface scattering, and then there's also a glossy version of it. And then there's actually also how can I display this? Yeah, there's also like this subtle Voronoi texture below that creates like this I don't know how to call it. It's excuse me. Often on like car paints, you get like this shimmering. Also, you get it in snow as well, I think. So I combined all these, and then you get like this subtle play in the colors there. So I'm super happy about this design actually. So we'll be looking at this in my upcoming video. And yes, it is rigged. Here you can see you have the arms. As you can see when I zoom out, it's pretty inspired by the Mixamo Y-bot. The toes are pretty much identical. The torso and crotch is kind of similar. I just removed one of these things here because I thought that was a little bit weird. And I also changed some proportions a little bit. So it works with like motion capture Mixamo thing. And then if you zoom in, you can also see that the texture looks kind of nice up close. So you can see, or I'm at least super happy about it. But here, I haven't even showed you the coolest part yet. So here you can see you have this visor. And this is what I wanted to show you in today's stream. How to set up this visor texture, because this is actually pretty cool. So if we have a look at it here, you can see it uses a Voronoi texture, but it has some clever inputs. So if we change this random switch here, look at that. You can change it from being a grid into being like this. I don't know what to call it, but it feels more organic and it feels like it's thinking, especially if you can do like something like this and then animate it maybe going like this. I feel like it can be super helpful to getting a personality when you have just like, this is the starting point, and then you kind of like transition into becoming, oh, wait, I need to think of some sort. So I feel like this could be like a cool modeling concept. So I have prepared a little bit of an animated version of this. I'm going to show you. Yeah, I can actually just show you right now. It's in this blend file here. Yeah, this one. This one is one of the renders I'm working on in my upcoming video. So yeah, let me just show you because I think this actually looks kind of cool. So if we, yeah, I think I should be able to do this. So here you can see it's very dark, but then it kind of comes walking out of the shadow and it looks kind of cinematic, I think. And then you have this light that shows up here. So this is pre-rendered, by the way, it's an EXR sequence. So you can see here that you have this, maybe I can set it to be the video editing. Yeah, so here you can see you have this shadow or this light that kind of shows up here. I just feel like it feels very cinematic and special. Oh, and there is a shading artifact there. I might need to take a look at that. Yeah, but this is one of the shots I've been working on for like the close-up reveal of for my next project, and it will. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what the video is going to be about because it's going to be such a cool video. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I think it will be very unique. So this is the Polybot with the circuit board texture and the oh, how many samples? Yeah, that's a good question. Here you can actually see if you're watching a render, if you're watching EXR sequence in the video editing tab here, you can actually go to the top right corner and you can enable the metadata overlays. And look at this. You can zoom in here, you can see. Now I'm holding down Alt and scrolling. So that means that you can go between the frames and you can see that every frame has its render time. So this was done with 2048 samples. Here you can see there. And then you can also see the render time per frame. So, and there is also how long in the animation we played. And you can see the cameras and everything. So it's pretty cool actually. Yeah, so this was rendered in cycles at 1 minute per frame, 2000 samples using the RTX 4090. So that really helps if you want to have fast renders, a strong GPU. But it could definitely have been maybe 1000 samples, I think. Or at least for this introduction shot, I wanted to be sure because there's so much things being revealed like here. So if let's try and increase the exposure here. So maybe I can go color management. Nope. Post-processing. I always forget. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. So if we increase the exposure here, you can see that we might actually be looking at it quite clean. No, it's not clean at all. Yeah. So if you increase it by a ton, it becomes, but no one will be able to see this. So yeah. Are you going to check out RenderMan in the future? Is that a proprietary render engine? I don't think so, at least. I'm just, I love cycles. Even if Eevee is faster, I'm always using cycles because it's so good. So I'm gonna show you in this video, this stream, I'm gonna show you how to set up this visor pattern here, how you can make it go from this grid into becoming this, I don't know what to call it, organic. Maybe you can help me out describing this. But it's gonna be like this transition effect at least. Okay, so let's open up a new Blend file. I'm working in Blender version 4.4, and then I'm gonna enable my screencast keys. Here you can see the screencast keys here. So if I enable this, now you can see the hotkeys I'm pressing in the bottom left corner. And I'm going to delete everything, and let's just create a mesh plane. And let's just rotate it 90 degrees. Doesn't matter actually, we can leave it on the floor. And let's set this to render properties. Let's set it to EV if you want to. You can change between EV and cycles, it works in both. And then I want to split my viewport in half. So usually I like to right click down here and do a vertical split like this. But I'm going to show you a super fast way to split the viewport in half. This is actually super fast. If you go up here in the editor, you can see this tiny little button, the editor type selector. If you click this button, if you right click on it, you can go to header and you have this option to move split area. And I have added a hotkey for this, but this is so powerful. So if you right click, you can add a shortcut. I can't see this option because, yeah, let me just remove it so I can show you. If you right click, header, and then you go to the move split area, right click on this, and you go assign shortcut. And I'm, for example, going to go Control W because that's available. So this is such a powerful thing because now every time I press Control W, you can basically get up to this menu here. So you can split it like this, or you can hold it here and place it here and replace this area, or you can do all kinds of really fast ways of just manipulating the viewport. It's so nice and I love it. So if I split it here by the Control W hotkey, might need to enable this again because it sometimes gets bugged. And we set this to the shader editor. So let's set this editor type to shader editor. And now let's go new material up here. So let's click new, and we want to call this grid. Yeah, grid pattern. That's good. Hang on, there's something happening in the chat. I just need to see. Nope, I don't. Sorry. So let's just keep going. I'm going to show you how to set this up because it's actually super simple and it's so powerful because when you have it in this scene, let me just have this open so we can kind of reference it. So if you, here you can see it gives this character so much to have this set up. Video editing. Yeah, it just gives it so much to have this set up, but the texture itself is actually kind of simple. So if we are in Blender and we set this to be wait, I lost my chat. There it is. Yeah. Oh, someone is asking for a shout out. I'm going to give you one shout out and I'm going to give you a timeout as well. Because how do I give it give you a timeout? Sorry. Okay, I'm getting distracted by the chat. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a Voronoi texture to this plane. So in the shader editor, we're going to get rid of the principal BSDF. Let's press X to delete it. And you can go Shift A and you can search for Voronoi texture. And you can actually just connect this straight to the surface. And if you set this to render view now, you will see the texture. But I do recommend in general to use an emission shader instead, because then you have more control over the strength, for example. So let's go Shift A, shader, emission. And then you just place that on top. And then I want to place this Voronoi texture on the strength here. So you can hold down Control and you change this noodle. So let's set it to strength. And then let's take this Voronoi texture here. And if you have the Node Wrangler add-on installed here, you can press Control T to get up this texture coordinate and the mapping node. So this makes it a lot easier to change this, because now you can move the location and you can move the scale, for example, and you can manipulate the incoming vector data to this Voronoi texture node. Very handy, because there's a limit to how much you can do with just this node itself. So now what we want to do, we want to invert the Voronoi texture, because then something very special happens. So let's, I'm actually not happy about this. Let's do this. I want to have the node tree below instead, so we have a little bit more to see. So if we now take this Voronoi texture and we add a color ramp. Let's go Shift A, converter color ramp. We can place it in between the texture and the emission shader. Now, if you flip the color ramp, look at this. Now you have this really interesting pattern. Let me scale this down and zoom in. So now you can take this color ramp and you can move this black, what is it called? A color stop. Yeah, you can move this. And now you can see you have all these spheres. And this is honestly almost the entire effect. Yeah, because now you can simply go over to the Voronoi texture here. And you can see you have this random value here. If you change this, this is basically, now we're looking at it most random. So if you change this to 0, you get the grid. And this is just so cool and so easy. And it's one of those things that when you have this setup, it can be really powerful to a scene. So even though this is a really simple node setup, look at how efficient it is to add something extra to this character. I'm just so excited about that. So now, if we want to, we can set this up a little bit better. So in the node setup here, for example, I'm using these random switch value, or I'm using these value inputs into the Voronoi texture here. You don't need to do this. You can simply just animate this random value if you want to. The only reason I've done this is so it's easier to just quickly go in and do changes to this. So this is easier to see if we open this project file here where I don't have any keyframes. So if we go in here, select the visor, yeah, here you can see we can very easily manipulate this randomized offset. Oh, yeah, we can really easily manipulate this because it has a multiply node that multiplies it by 0.01. So if you were to manipulate this value instead, oh, I forgot to show how to do that. If you set it to 4D, and then you increase the randomness, now you can change this W value here. But as you can see, it's so sensitive that even if you hold down Shift, it's still just super, yeah. So what I like to do is to add a math node, set it to multiply, and then you set it to maybe 0.01, and then you plug it in there. And then into this top value here, you just have an input value node. So now you can change the value of this node without holding down Shift, and you have kind of just created this gear. So it's a little bit easier. Yeah. So, and then if you want to give this a name, like I did here, you can press Ctrl J like this, and now you can press F2 with the node label selected, and you can just call this, for example, randomness, or what did I call it? Yeah, randomized offset, like this. And then if you want to, you can duplicate this, and you can call this, for example, I forgot what I called it, random switch. This is unnecessary, but if you want to do it, you can do it. So now this means that if this is set to 0, we have the grid. And if it's set to 1, we have the randomness. And then I also added one more for this mapping node. You don't need to do that. Or I can show you how to do it. You use, first you use a combine XYZ node. And you plug this into the vector here. Like this. Wait, do you? No, you don't. You plug it into the mapping node, sorry. So once you have the mapping node set up, you take this combine XYZ and you plug it into the vector of location here. And now you can manipulate these. Here you can see you can change the X value, the Y, and the Z. So the Z is actually the same in a way that the W, but it's kind of different because if you have a volumetric setup and you actually have a 3D setup, you will notice that this is moving on one axis actually. So yeah. Do you read the chat from time to time? Yes, I do. I think I actually have it. Nope, I don't have the chat. Yeah, I can. Here you can see I have the chat there. But that's probably a little bit distracting. So let's keep it hidden for now, but I'll read it more later. Okay, so if you see here, you take this combine XYZ node, and then you just plug it into this the same system here. So you can take this Y value, for example, plug it in here. You can call this Y axis offset. So now you have the same setup like this. Let me show you the entire node tree. So let's clean this up. Oh, that's crazy that you can rotate it. I wonder, I think you can, oh yeah, you can trackball rotate as well. That's crazy. Yeah, so let's just tidy up here a little bit so you can take a nice screenshot if you want to. Yeah, I think this should be the setup. Like this. You can take a screenshot now. But there's one more thing I want to show you that is actually really powerful about this. And that is that you don't need to have a number into the randomness. Here you can see this doesn't need to be like a data input number. It can also be a texture. For example, a gradient texture going from black to white. So powerful. So let's delete the random switch here. And in the randomness here, we can add a gradient texture. So let's just search for gradient texture and plug this in here. And now if we hold down Control and Shift and click on the gradient texture, you can see that we now have this data value that goes from 0 over here, and then it goes all the way to 1 in a linear gradient. So we can use this. It's so cool. So that means that when we plug this in here, you can see it already. We now have grid here and random here. So powerful. So if we now do the same thing with this gradient texture that we did to the Voronoi texture, where we can manipulate the texture and coordinate node, we can simply select the gradient texture, press Ctrl T. You can take the texture coordinate and a mapping node, and now you can manipulate this X location, for example. Look at that. Now you have this transition going from a smooth grid, perfectly arrayed, everything is organized, perfectly balanced as all things should be, and then you move it over there and you can see that it looks a little bit like a simulation actually, but it's just a procedural offset. So this can be such a cool vibe to create something that has a transition like that. And then if you look carefully, you can see that it does actually slow down kind of fast. Or I mean, the transition is very noticeable is what I'm trying to say. So what happens is that it has a linear transition, and that is kind of, yeah, so the transition, if you were to look at this in another way, the transition happens like this. And for us, it is noticeable to see these points here in the transition. So what we can do is that we can make it a little bit rounder. We can make it rounder like this. Oh, sorry. We can make it rounder here, and we can also round it off a little bit here. So now it's a little bit more difficult to see that these spheres are kind of like, oh, it starts moving. It's a little bit janked. Yeah. So what we need to do is that we need to add, or what we don't need to do it, we can do it. We can change, for example, the linear gradient here to easing. So now it's a little bit smoother. It goes a little bit like this instead. And then you can also take the, you can set it to quadratic, for example. And let me just show you. It might be difficult to see. But now the transition is a little bit smoother. Let's set it to easing again. And it's also possible to manipulate this using a color ramp. So let's go Shift A, converter color ramp. And now you can see if we change, we can set it to constant, for example, just to really show how it works. Here you can see it is this straight line here. But if you set it to ease, now it's actually easing here and it's easing here as well. So now we're really making it kind of, yeah, maybe too smooth even. No, it actually looks really good, I think. Yeah, okay, so but what if you want the transition to be a little bit longer? Like it's a little bit too short right now. You want it to be extended a little bit. You can take the mapping node here, and you can hold down, here's a nice trick. If you click and drag down, you can move all the values at the same time. So if you, for example, set this to 0.5, and now if we move this over here, hold on Shift, you can see we have a longer transition like that. But if I'm being honest, it's a little bit annoying to animate this location like this. So let's connect this to an object instead. So let's go Shift A, and let's go empty sphere. And let's press F2, and let's just call this gradient. No, let's call it transition controller. Oh. And then we need to take our texture coordinate node here, and if we hold down Control, we can change it from generated to object. And now we can take this object, this little, what is it called, an eyedropper thing, and we can pull it onto the transition controller. And look at this. Now when we move this empty object, we are doing the transition with that object. Very powerful. Look at that. Such a cool way to do this effect really nicely. By the way, what is the thumbnail of this stream? I'm just so curious because I never specified the thumbnail. Is it possible to see? Is it Oh, it is a... Yeah, it's just a still screenshot from the stream. That's good. Okay, that was my goal. Okay, so now we can try and create something a little bit more special with this. So what I want to do, I want to maybe give it a random color. Okay, so what's really powerful is that this Voronoi texture, it looks like this by default. But what we can do is that we can look at this. We are using the distance output here. If we set it to color, for example, you can see that it looks like this. So now we can have a look at this. We can move this. You can see it transitions the colors. That's actually a really cool transition as well. And then we can, for example, let's have a look at the position. Oh, yeah, not that exciting. I'm going to keep it at distance for now. But what you can do, if you want to have a random color for every sphere here, you can take the color of the Voronoi texture and you can plug it into the emission color. Look at that. Now every sphere has a random color. And if you take this transition controller and move it, you can see that it kind of works. There are some issues with spheres getting like a really sharp edge, like there. But yeah, it's kind of cool that it works. Yeah, this is actually not geometry nodes, by the way. This is just shader nodes. So this will work with older versions of Blender as well. Okay, I want to try something. Let's see if this shader, or I know it works, but let's add this node setup here, our plane. Let's add this to a light, because we can actually turn this texture into a light. It looks really cool. So if we, for example, take this grid pattern here, and we just click this X button here, and we can give it a new material. Let's just call this ground plane. And I want to scale this up. And now if we go Shift A, light, area light, for example, we can press G and Z and move this up. Yeah, so now we can, for example, where is it? Oh, this doesn't work in, yeah, this next thing doesn't work in Eevee. We need to be in cycles. So let's go to the output render properties and let's set the render engine to cycles. And let's select our light here. And in the object data properties, you can click use nodes, this button here. If you click this button, now you have a node tree here. And yeah, I forgot we need to copy the nodes. Yeah, so let's select our plane here and let's give it the grid pattern material again. Let's press A to select all of them, Control C to copy. And then let's select this lamp here. And then let's take the emission shader. Let's press X to delete it, Control V to paste everything. And then we can take this material output. What, is this correct? It's just so far away. I don't know. That was kind of weird. Anyways, now we can select this light here and we can take the material output, delete it, and connect the emission into the light output. So now if we take this ground plane here and change it back to ground plane, and we set this to rendered view, we can select our area light. Oh, this is always a little bit tricky. What's wrong here? Maybe the spread. Yeah, that's it. So if you lower the spread, now this texture will focus. Yeah, so with the light selected after you pasted the nodes, go to the object data properties and you lower the spread. So it's at 0 degrees, or you can actually have it a little bit, so just a little bit blurry. That's nice. Yeah. So now the cool part is we can, for example, go to the world properties, set the strength to 0, and we can go Shift A, Mesh Cube, and we can scale up this cube. really big, and we can press F2 and let's call this volumetric. So now if you select this cube, you can go to the material properties, new, and let's call this volumetric. And then let's delete this principal BSDF and let's go Shift A, search for volume, and you can go volume scatter if you like, and you can plug this not into the surface but into the volume. So now everything gets a little bit darker, but if you lower the density, hold on Shift and lower it, you should be able to see. No, we need to select the light and make it way stronger. So yeah, there we go. So let's set the light to 1000 watts. Look at that. Now we have this really cool effect where our light is projecting this texture. That kind of looks really nice. Yeah, this video, Amin is asking, will this live be available after? Yes, so it will be the same link. So if you came to the stream late, for example, you can just copy the link and go back after the stream is over, and you should be able to watch everything. Okay, so now we have this really cool effect here. We can, for example, we can still move this transition controller here. So you move this now, look at this. Oh, you get this really interesting effect. That you actually have this transition, look at that. Just looks so alive. And there are going to be some denoising artifacts. Here you can see on this line here. So what I recommend that you do is that you should have a really big ground plane. Just make it really big. And then if you want to, you can press Tab to go to edit mode, E to extrude, and then, yeah, the Z axis. And then just scale it up and press X and just delete the faces here. So now we're kind of inside this box. It won't affect the render, but you no longer have this denoising thing that happens in the distance with the grid there. Yeah. Okay, so maybe there are some changes we can do to the colors. Perhaps we can add a color ramp. And yeah, look at this. You can change the color like this. You can start out. This, I think this will look really cool if you animate it. Also, if you want to animate the size of these spheres, that is actually super easy. You can animate this position value of the color ramp. So here you can see it starts small and then it becomes big like this. So actually, let's try something really advanced. Let's go Shift A and let's go empty sphere. And you want to right click, adjust empty display size and make it kind of small. And I'm going to press F2 and let's call this sphere size controller, or maybe pattern makes sense. Pattern size controller. And then let's go back to the render view. Let's select this area light here. Yeah, let's take the pattern size controller, and in the object properties, I'm not sure if this will work, but if you, for example, take the X location of this and you go right click, copy as new driver, and then you go to the light and you go to this position here and you can right click, paste driver. Not sure if this will work, but now if you select the pattern size controller, press G and Y, nope, X. Yes, it works. Nice. So now we have created the link here. So we're using a driver to control the color ramp. So if you take this pattern size controller, you can press G and X and you can move it and you can change the size of this. And you can really create this powerful transition. So you can, for example, go Shift A. Yeah, since this is a light, we can interact with it in interesting ways. So let's go Shift A, mesh, make an icosphere, for example. Set it to a high subdivision count, scale it down. Look at this, if we move this up. Now we have such a cool scene, I think. Yeah, sorry, you didn't see this, but I'm changing the, by pressing N to bring up this menu here. You can change the focal length to just get it, make it a little bit more epic when we're watching it. Yeah, look at that. Now we have all these tools that we can control. We can, for example, go here, and we can also change the, it doesn't need to be black and white. It can still have colors like this. I think this can be a quite cool effect. Yeah, now we have these colored spheres kind of making... Yeah. Really like that. We could try and add some keyframes and animate this, but it's going to take forever to render. Let's just see. So it starts with a grid. Oh, that's very cool. And then it transitions into this. Yeah, so we'll start with a grid like here, maybe. Yeah, like there. Where's the transition controller? Yeah, we'll just add a keyframe on the first frame. So I'm going to press K and insert a location keyframe. And maybe let's go to frame, yeah, maybe 4 seconds. And then let's press G and X and move it over here. Yeah, I think that will be very cool. And then K and insert another keyframe. So now we have this transition that goes from one place, just whoosh, really changes the vibe of the scene. Can you animate the dots to wiggle or move a little bit, or is the random position fixed? I think the random position is fixed. Let me see if there are some clever tricks we could do. No, I think it's fixed, yeah. Maybe you could try something with, let's just try something very dumb. Let's just add a noise texture into this vector coordinate here. So if you scale this or lower the detail. No, this is not it. Yeah, I'm not sure what's the best way to approach this. I think you should do it in geometry nodes if you want to change the location of those. But now we could also add a texture to this icosphere here. Let's just call this sphere. And I'm gonna give it a material name as well. Yeah, sphere. Maybe we can set this to class. Could be interesting. Wait, does it have a... Oh, it's just... It needs to have a smooth shading. Yeah. That looks crazy. Also remember, we can animate the light here as well. So if we want to rotate it around, we can rotate the light around. We can add a little bit more... something interesting is happening to the... Huh. Yeah, interesting. Oh, sorry. The 4D position, I think the 4D position only changes, yeah, the W value here. If we randomize this, we're kind of just cycling through. So we're not really changing the position of the spheres, we're only changing the scale of them. But it is it comes alive a little bit, so. Yeah, I don't think we need this y-axis offset anymore now that we have our transition. Oh, no, we do actually. Yeah, that's not the same. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so that is it. I think this is a really cool effect. It's also nice when the camera is passing by, you can see between these. Kind of just whoosh. We could use it as ceiling lighting, so the place light as the character enters. Are you going to make a video on geometry nodes? I won't be making a video about this technique in geometry nodes, but I do have a geometry node video actually on my channel where I created this effect that I think is really cool. This one. This is I was so happy about this because this is something that is kind of difficult to do in Blender without geometry nodes. I haven't really found a reliable way to do it, at least. You end up with stupid particle systems and yeah. But this is an effect I'm really happy about. And I think you should watch it if you're a beginner to geometry nodes. I think you could be cool. Yeah, could you make the transition radial? Yes, you can. You can change the texture here, if you take the area light, you can the gradient texture doesn't need to be easing. If you set it to spherical, for example, now it will be a sphere. So that means our transition controller will be a little bit different. Yeah. Let's actually have a look at the texture now to see. Yeah, so now you can see the texture is a little bit different. I'm just going to delete the keyframes on this. Yeah, now you can see you have this texture like this. So if we set it to a round texture here, we can. That's actually a really good idea to make it spherical, because now we should be able to scale up transition controller here. It's too it has too big of a scale. Maybe 2. I'm gonna set it to constant there. Yeah, here you can see. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, now we have a radial transition. That is really cool. That is such a shockwave effect. Yeah, that's a really good suggestion. So now we could make it... Oh, crazy. Maybe set it here. Yeah, that's a really good idea. You can create this really cool shockwave effect. Perhaps we should try and animate this. Take this sphere here and give it diffuse shader. And yeah, the shiny ball, it should be diffuse, yeah. So now if we take our transition controller, that is very cool. Maybe we can add no, never mind. Yeah, let's animate this. Let's go to the first frame. I'm going to select the transition controller, K, and then scale. And then let's go to the last frame actually. No, let's go to the frame 200 maybe. And then I want to scale it up. No, it started. Oops. Yeah, let's start here at 0, or it's nothing. Add a keyframe, frame 200. And let's scale it up so it's kind of finished exploding. So now we have this. That looks really nice. Let's have a look at this. Nice. I think that's going to look really cool with a higher sample count, because the preview here is a little bit limited. '90s D&D cover art. Yeah, maybe. Perhaps we should add some glare. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the compositing tab, use nodes, and if we just add a simple glare node, fog glow, and yeah, these settings might be good. Nope, they're not. Let's see here. Compositor. What's the issue? It's just way too much. Should be just 0.0 here maybe. Yeah. It looks like it's being summoned by some space stuff. Perhaps that's the animation. It starts out like we could do some changes to the randomized offset, so it starts with 0, and then the transition will be like this. That is, I think that might be cool. Like and then if we make it blue or something that is a little bit, yeah, let's use the color ramp here. maybe like this. Not happy about that color. Nice. That looks kind of crazy, actually. I'm just wondering, is the thumbnail of this stream this image? Because that's an amazing thumbnail for a stream. Look at that. This is beyond my wildest dreams. Oh, it's a donation. Hey bro, I'm from India, planning to create 3D content for YouTube. I'm switching from a 3D generalist job to full-time content creator related to 3D and games. Can you give me tips and suggestions? Yeah, I think it's a really good experience to be a 3D. Yeah, I can have it there so you can see it. I think it's a nice thing to do content creation. Maybe think about why you want to do it. Is it because you want to get views and that other people will see it, or is it because it has more freedom? Because for me, I'm doing it because it gives me more freedom than being employed somewhere, which just feels so good. Every day I wake up, I can create whatever I want. So today I woke up and I wanted to stream, and I wanted to create something related to this setup. Ended up being completely different, solving a bunch of problems I had never had before. So yeah, you should go for it. I think if you feel constrained as a 3D generalist in your current job, I think you will find that it will give you opportunities creatively. I think that is difficult to compete with in a large corporation. So I think the thing I miss the most, I haven't really had a real job with real people, but the thing I missed the most when I was an intern, for example, was that it's so valuable to be able to talk to other people that know what they're talking about, and you can get creative feedback from them, and that's so valuable. We might be looking at a future where you can get away with using large language models to critique your work. I've been doing it a little bit. It's not the same as having a human being, but it can be very quick to just send a screenshot to Google Gemini and say, are there any obvious mistakes? You know, that could be something to kind of, if you're missing that social thing. But I just assumed, by the way, that if you're pursuing a content creation career, then you're doing it alone. But you could do it with others. I think it would be nice to do it with others as well. What are your takes on the future of 3D art and visual effects? Difficult to tell. Very difficult. I think if you have a good process that you can show people how you work and you can document how you ended up with the final result, I think that will be easier to communicate and work with others with. But if you're just typing text into a box and you get a video output, I think you will struggle to get people interested if there's no process behind. Yeah. Okay, there was one thing I was thinking about, and I wanted to introduce just a little bit of a different color to some of these. So maybe we can head over. I'm not happy about that. Yeah, let's try and... no, that was a stupid mistake. A stupid thing to do. Yeah, let's keep it saturated and nice. Oh, here's a nice trick. Yeah, you can set this value here to 2. This is so nice. Let me actually show you... Yeah, in this project, here you can see the Polybot. For the Polybot shader here, I have actually cheated a little bit, so it's brighter than what's physically possible. Yeah, here you can see I have a global color node. If you click on this, you can see it has a value of 1.5. So that means that if I set this to 1, now it's kind of like realistic. This is how you would look in real life if there's a light above you that is, how big is this? 1 meter by 1 meter light. Then this shader would look, that's like the physical accurate version, right? But if you want to just create something that is a little bit, you know, is it real, is it whatever, you can just tweak it by adding some. You can make this brighter. Now it's emitting more light than it's receiving. It's receiving 1.5 times. You can set it to 2, and since I'm using a subsurface scattering shader for this, you get these really intriguing things happening. It just really works well with the subsurface scattering. Look at that. There's something so cool here happening. Because now, effectively, what you're doing is that you're lowering every other... Because lighting is all relative. So effectively what you're doing is you're just making everything darker. You're making the ground darker, and you're making the light brighter. And if there were trees here and everything, they would also be darker. So it's actually, if you really think about it, increasing the value to a value higher than 1, it's actually not cheating. You're just changing a bunch of stuff that you really might struggle to control. But yeah, I do it all the time. So I like doing that. And also I want to show you something really cool now that we are with this character. Look at if you place the light here, and this is my new favorite feature, by the way, the beam shape. In the if you select the light and go to the object data properties, if you lower the beam shape, maybe you'll make it like this, and you place it so it's kind of really harsh. It comes in from the side, maybe it's a little bit behind. Maybe you have it here or something. Look at that. That is such a phenomenal effect. You get this really sharp... Yeah, so this is what I was dialing in when the light just hits a streak like that. So such a cool effect if you want to create something that just stands out a little bit more. Because sometimes you might be looking at a very similar result as many other people if you just have this soft light, but you're giving it some direction, and I really enjoy that. Look at this. And this is especially nice with volumetrics, because then you can actually see this light coming through. Let me show you. If I add a cube here and set it to a volumetric. Nope, we need to. Yeah, volume. Oops. Here you can see, now you get this really nice... It really helps to set some depth in the scene. What is the texture on the Polybot? Yeah, I explained this in the beginning of the video, so if you're watching this in the future, you can go back and see that more in detail. But it is a texture of a circuit board, yes. Here you can see the texture, looks like this. You can take a screenshot if you want to use the same texture. It has seamless loops. So, yeah. I'm in love with Waltz of the Ray Tracer. Nice. Oh, I thought my piano was connected. It's not. Let's get back to our scene here, because I want to see this transition. I want to see what it looks like in a final render. So yeah, by the way, sorry, I didn't explain what I did there, but here you can see we're in the 3D viewport. And I want to change the movement of this transition controller because we're animating it on the scale. So if you set this editor type to graph editor and you select the transition controller, you can open this menu here, and here you can see you have the scale. So if you box select all these keyframes, here you can see you have all the axes. So if you box select all of them, you can move these around, and you can basically change the behavior of this transition here. So if we go to the first frame, I want it to explode a little bit. So you can, for example, press R and rotate them, and G and Y, move it up. So we start here. I have this explosion like that. So we can even emphasize this a little bit more by, for example, scaling it up like this. So now it's gonna, look at this, it's gonna go like a... Nice, yeah. So maybe the ball lays on the ground. Oops. Maybe it's like on the ground when we start. But then once it's like a tractor beam. So when the beam hits, it starts pulling it up. So maybe here, start pulling it up, and then we go up like this. Oh, nice, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to here's a nice, excuse me. Here's a nice trick, by the way, if you want to make a movement to start slow. Oh, I need to burp. Here's a movement. If you start slow, if you want to start slow, go faster and just keep going, because now it stops. If you just want this to keep going, you can just press A and press Shift E and set it to linear extrapolation. But now it always goes like this, right? So what you can do is you can simply take this first keyframe here. Let's just get rid of the other channels. We don't need those. Take this first keyframe, just duplicate it on the x-axis like this, Shift D and then X. So now you just have two of them. So now if you press A and then Shift E, you can go linear extrapolation, and now it will keep going forever. So it's such a nice way to just make keyframes that just goes all the time. So this is a trick I like to use if you are, for example, doing, let's say you have end credits for a movie. So you are like this, you have end credits. If you, for example, set this to be on the center here, oops, center, and you want this to start moving down. You want it to be really slow first and then faster and faster. Select it, press K and then location. And then let's split our viewport in half here. And then if you, for example, go to frame 120, go press G and Z, move it down. And then K and then L to insert a keyframe. Now you can kind of do this thing where if you do the same thing that we just did, where you duplicate this, and then you go Shift E linear extrapolation. Now it will kind of start. It will the movie is over and the credits go like this. It starts, and then they start slowly go, oops, that's the wrong way. Yeah, just need to do this. Yeah, so the movie is over and the end credits, they start rolling like this. And then you have all the names going down. Hello, I'm just gonna write the names from the chat. Optimus Prime, John D, Xtim 101, ESO. Yeah, so these are the credits, right? So then you get to the end here, and you just press Shift D to duplicate this. Nope, you just keep going. Let's say the end credits is, how long is this? 1 minute long. Let's say it's 1 minute. You get to 1 minute, you press K and insert available keyframes. And then you do the same thing up here, where you kind of just keep, nope, we need to add one more. So scroll a little bit more, and then K insert available. And now you can do this. And now you get this weird thing here. So if you press T, set it to linear. Now this should be nice and smooth. Yeah, starts going, and then you get the speed. And then this speed goes all the time. And then you get to the end, like this. And then it slows down again. And I'm starting to realize, I'm starting to realize that what I just showed you had absolutely nothing to do with linear extrapolation. That's stupid. Because that's what we were talking about. So, yeah. And then the stops. There was a... try using command like #frame. That wouldn't work here because you wouldn't want it to stop it. So it's much better to use keyframes here than expressions. But I do like using #frame, yeah. For if you want just a constant linear movement. But if you can, I recommend using keyframes because it's so much easier to just customize and actually tweak. Cut that out of the live and make it a 30-second tutorial on how to make credits. I'm not sure. I think I was rambling too much, and I don't think it was... yeah, I mean, if you want to edit this... this actually goes out to anyone. If anyone wants to edit this stream down to a tutorial and send it to me, and it's a good edit, I mean, we might be looking at a collaboration there. So you know how to get in touch with me. There's an email on my channel, so feel free to send me a video file of the edit. You can, if you want to download a YouTube video, I'm going to show you the best website to do that. That is cobalt.tools. Oops. Cobalt tools. Oh, cobalt with an A. Yeah. So cobalt tools. If you paste the YouTube link here, it's an amazing website to download the YouTube videos with. Yeah. So let's see if we can. Yeah, nice. We should animate this transition controller. No, the area light texture. I want to give it some animation on the randomized offset, just when the pulling starts. So, yeah, let's go here, I, and then like this. Yeah, I think that might be interesting. And then we want to give it the linear extrapolation. Nice. Is there something we can do? Maybe we can blur it a little bit. Is that cool if it blurs out when the transition starts? Yeah, it should do that. So we start here. We add a keyframe. Then we start moving. I'm just gonna add another one actually, and then when we get up here, it's a little bit blurry. And then we do the linear extrapolation on this one as well. Yeah, I think that would be nice. Okay, so let's add a camera to this. Oh, it actually starts out completely black. Oh, it should move faster. Yeah, the sphere should move faster. Yeah, that's good. And then we get here, and the video ends. Oh, the video needs to end. The video needs to end before the sphere exits the... Oh, we can just move this up. No, we can't. Yeah, it needs to end here. Maybe the area, something happens to the area light. Does it? Yeah, it definitely goes down in strength here. So we can animate the strength of the area light like that. So now it's going to be like a perfect loop. Interesting. Ah, nice. It feels like a loading screen actually. I think I want to... No, wait. Wait. Remember this? This little bad boy? We forgot to use that. That's what we wanted to do. We don't want to lower the strength of the area light here. That's... yeah. We actually want to get rid of those keyframes. Because if we animate this thing instead... Yeah, we want to do that. So if we go to the end here... Is this even possible? Yeah. Perhaps we shouldn't blur it then. Blurring it, it's too much blurring. You should use the Vulkan render instead of the OpenGL in your preference. I mean, I understand that it's faster, but I very rarely use the OpenGL. I mean, this is OpenGL, right? There's very rarely having issues with the OpenGL render speed. So I'm going to go for the stability for now. But for cycles, if there's a cycles improvement with Vulkan, I might switch. Let's try a still render here. It's gonna take forever to render, I think. Make the area shape. Oh, make the area light shape as a disk. Okay, I'll try it, but I think it will increase the render time significantly. So that's actually good that we did a render now, 14 seconds. So now if we do another render and we turn it into a disk, so square disk instead. In my experience, this takes longer to render, but let's see. So let's do a render here. You might actually be right. It could look better with a circle. Oh, it's the same render time. That must be in a patch, because this used to be super slow. Okay, nice. I like it. Yeah, let's go for the... Hang on. Should we do a... Can I do a poll? Yeah, let's do a poll. Should circle, cube, no, square. What shape of the light? What should be the shape of the light? So now you can vote in the poll. So you can vote and you can see, or you can choose. We're gonna end the vote in 90 seconds. I'm gonna remove this so you can't see it. So it's gonna be less. Oh, 42 votes, 44 votes. So many votes. Nice. Is it looking good for the circle? I think... oh, I think the display brightness is a bit high and it shows in the camera. That's a good call. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we're ending the poll. Thank you for letting me know, by the way, Broken Studio. I'm gonna lower the brightness for that. Thank you so much. Should be able to open that. Oh. All my screens got black. No, we're here. Nope, my camera is frozen. Yeah, I should definitely not use that camera. Okay, so now we're here. And this camera is also probably frozen. Yeah. Oh, no, that camera is probably powered off. Okay, we're good. Now I can lower the brightness of the... Nope. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues here because of the Elgato camera hub. Elgato software has been what's been bugging me. I've had the most amount of bugs with that hardware and software lately. In case anyone was wondering about that. Okay. Okay, chat is back. Shape of the light, circle wins with hang on. Circle wins with 83%. Amazing. What camera do you use? I use the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II X. I can show you a picture of it. I think I have it on my... Can I see it here? Am I logged in even? Nope. Let's just search for it. Panasonic. Sorry, you can't see my screen. Panasonic Lumix S5 X. Is it gonna be a boring thing? But this camera. Yeah. This one. That's the camera I have. And then I have the 20mm f1.4. So you get really nice depth of field. Look at this. Look at this BB-8 my girlfriend made me. Look at that depth of field. It looks amazing, right? So that's the Sigma 20mm f1.4. And I'm streaming at 1440p. Which I could do 4K, but that's stupid because my monitor is only 1440p. So I feel like I talked about this before, but 1440p on a 27-inch monitor, this is the best. Make the edge of the disc soft. I think I would agree that that would be a good idea. Oh, but that would, I think we would have to use an object, like a texture instead. Wait, we could just increase the size. So it just goes here. Oh, that would be, oh, look at that. It would be really cool if it just kept going. Does it keep going? Forgotten what these keyframes are. What's this? Randomized offset, okay. So we need to change the transition controller. Yeah, these are the keyframes we need to change. Because if this just keeps going, yeah, we can change this to linear extrapolation. And then it just keeps going. No, sorry, I've changed my mind. I'm getting too confused by my messy project file. So let's keep it. No, I know what we need to do. We do need to have a softer shadow, softer edge. So let's take this light here and let's just make a plane. And let's give this plane some transparency. I'm going to call this obscure. I think this might look weird with the... Let's just try it. If I go gradient texture, oops, gradient texture, and we turn it to spherical, color ramp, and we set it to object, and then we can, oops, we can do this. So now we can make it soft, like this. And then we set this to hold out, and then we add a mix shader, and then we set this to be on the factor and the hold out and a transparent shader. It's wrong. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, so now we can control the roundness of this. Won't we? There we go. Yeah, so now we have a little bit of a rounder edge there. And we need to make it smaller. Obscure. So now if you make this a little bit smaller, now we have that beautiful, this is a good idea. I'm glad you made that idea. Thank you. So now it goes like this. Yeah, nice. Okay, so at this point we have an animation that goes like this, and then the sphere disappears, and then we have a transition out to that. So we should actually have a perfect loop. Nice. I think sphere must scale. It must gonna smaller to bigger. Not sure if I understand. You can project light through SVG. Yeah, that's a good idea. To get some, if you want your logo to have something. Okay, nice. So now it kind of goes up like that. So I think we should try and render this out as an animation. Let me just try and do some still frames to get an idea of how long this is going to take. Okay, let's see here. 16 seconds. So what's 16 times 211? 56 minutes, that's too long. Maybe we can do... Are you using a single PC to work and stream? Yes. I used to stream from 2 PCs, where I was working with one and streaming with the other. That was nice, but it's so much work. It's just, you have double the amount of Windows updates, and there's just... I'm not sure if I will do that again, but maybe. Right now, I actually figured out a super nice setup, so I might end up using this setup that I have, where I'm using every... How to optimize for faster rendering? I just... first of all, I reduced the resolution, because if you really think about it, let me show you something crazy. Here you can see you have 1920 by 1080p pixels, right? This is 100%, so this render was rendered at 100% resolution. This one is at 75% resolution. And if you really think about that, that is half the amount of pixels. So you will slice your render time in half if you just do 75% resolution instead. So it's such a nice way to get rid of render speed. Because, you know, you have all these AI upscaling tools, like in DaVinci Resolve Studio, you get like this super scale option that is so efficient. So I don't think I've rendered out the render in 4K in probably 2 years, because you can just upscale it. And as long as you render the text, if you have any text, you render that in actual 4K, so you get like the super sharp lines on the vector graphics. People won't be able to tell that you have rendered in HD instead of 4K. And then you're using your GPU to upscale it with DaVinci Resolve, and it's gonna, yeah. And frame interpolation lets you render every other frame. Could be. For this animation, I think you could be able to do that, yeah. But if you have too much motion, then I wouldn't trust it. Okay, 480. How much is that? 5 times... Yeah, that might work. Yeah, let's try and see if this will work. So I'm gonna just watch through it again and see if we've forgotten anything. Nice. I like it. I want to move the camera a little bit closer. I want the scale of the transition controller to be a little bit more explosive. Maybe like this. Yeah, that's better. And then this animation should start a little bit sooner as well. Hang on, should it start? Yeah, it should change the color when the tractor beam starts, because then it can be a little bit more abrupt. Yeah, we're going to do that. So we're going to take this area light here, and I want to animate this color. I actually want to animate between 2 colors, because yeah, if we just add a color ramp, or a mix color node, and we have one color, RGB, we take this color, you can just click and drag it in there. So now here is our color on A, and if you set this to be color there, now our color ramp can be completely desaturated. Plug it in here. Oof, I'm an idiot. Let's just go between 2. Yeah, let's just do it like this. I know it's easier, but let's just do it like that and set it to mix instead. Oops. Color, mix color. And then, because I want the tractor beam to be like this. So it's kind of changing. That is a cool color, yeah. Yeah, so it changes. What are your system specs? If you watch my Q&A video, you can see everything on all my computers because I have the same setup now as I have then. So I have an RTX 4090 and the Intel i9 13900 KS, I think. And 64 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, I think this needs to be faster, this transition. And if we set it to cubic. Yeah, okay, nice. Perhaps we should take the... It's difficult to see all the details, so if I were to do this in a real project, if I were not streaming, I would probably do a low resolution render first, just to get an impression of what are we actually working with here in terms of like how does these movements behave, because you can't really see the movement there. You can only see like a still frame here, still frame here. I'm talking about these vertical lines in the volumetric. The color change can be a little bit slower. I was thinking if you have like a sound design, so it goes like this, and then junk, then you can actually make it a little bit fast like that. Yeah, so let's, I'm going to render this out as an EXR sequence. And I want to do just one more still frame so we can see the render time again. And then I also have some plans for what we can do while we're rendering. So I just want to make sure that we're not using too much time to render. If you use a color ramp with the color of the Voronoi, it will be more organic. Could be. Oh, now we're up at 9 seconds. Why is that? What? I don't understand. It was just... Oh, it's because the camera is closer. So then we have more... Yeah, we're going to lower the resolution a little bit more. Because the camera is closer, so then we have more volumetrics in the scene. That's... Yeah, so we can do 50% resolution, but then we have to increase the sample count. Yeah, so 5 seconds per frame, that's our budget, I think. The render looks straight out of Unreal Engine. Yeah. It's... We have some issues with the... It's breathing a little bit, so it won't be like a... Yeah, this will be like a preview render because we have so much volumetrics there. So let's render this to our desktop. Render EXR version 1. So what should we call render? Volumetric sphere render. No, let's call it preview. Version 1. And then you also want to have underscore after if you render it as an image sequence. So now I'm going to close this by pressing Control F. The blend file is just called ASDF. That's okay, because I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close Blender. I'm going to open this software called BRenderon. This is a software I've been using for rendering stuff, which is really nice. So if you just pull the blend file in there, now you can see that you have this render interface. It's the standalone software. I think it's also available on the... I talked about this before. It's on the SuperHive BRenderon. Yeah, standalone render manager. It's a software that is really nice for just rendering. You're basically rendering headless in Blender, so you are rendering faster, but you can schedule render. So if you, for example, have a dedicated render PC, you can, for example, use Parsec or something, or Remote Desktop, and just remote into that PC, and just add blend files to it, and then it will just render out all these image sequences. Very, very nice. So this is such a cool tool. So if we click the open output path, for example, we can test and see, okay, it's in the correct folder. So now if we click this and we start rendering, we should be able to see the images start popping up here. Yeah. So here you can see we have the render, the first image, Tekken as well. Black, of course, because that's the loop we wanted to have. How much fastering are we rendering if we're using BRenderon? It depends on the scene, but sometimes it's could be like 5-8% faster. It's not that much, but it really helps if you have a large scene and it doesn't need to put it in and out of the scene all the time. Yeah. Okay, so we are our render is coming together. I was thinking, yeah, let's see it. Ah, nice. This will be good. Yeah, this is no problem that this is a lower resolution. I can show you how I would upscale this later. Okay, so while this is rendering, I want to try something. I'm going to add a... how do I add like this window capture? Yeah. Be render on. Because maybe I can do like this. Yeah, so now you can see this thing, so I can kind of set the rendering here, so you can see that we are rendering, because I have some plans for what we can do. So if I place this on top here, then I can move over here. Yeah, and you can still see the render. Okay, nice. Yeah. What are you using for EXR previews? I'm using something called CineSync Play. I've actually talked with the developers of that, and they are really cool. It's a proprietary software where you can go tools, color grading, for example, and you can set the Okio profile to be the config file of Blender. So you basically get access to AGX inside of here. I think I've covered this in a previous live stream. If you want to figure out when that was, I think it's one of the live streams. I've talked about this more extensively there. So yeah, you can just double click and you can set the frame rate and you can preview it as it looks. So that's really nice. Hey Ezra, thanks for watching. Okay, I want to show you something because I have a folder here called Games. I was thinking we could maybe transition this into like a gaming stream while I am rendering here. So maybe I can edit Friday. I'm gonna edit the title. Blender stream gaming while rendering, like this, so it's not so confusing if people see that I'm live streaming a video game. So now the title of the stream should update. Okay. Eid Mubarak, is that correct? Eid or Eid? Eid, yeah, nice. Okay, so here I have 3 games. I have Townscaper, Tiny Glade, Ultimate Freeriding. We need to start with Ultimate Freeriding. This is such a cool game. It's made by Studio Gauntlet. Amazing people. I was on... I shared an office with them. Co-working space with them. Really nice. So let me just lower the volume a little bit. And let's try it. Score attack, infinite run, Zen, peak of the week. Should we try that? I haven't tried that before. No, let's just try some regular play for. So this is a game that was, I think all the assets for this game were made in Blender. So this ski character was made there. So yeah, so we can try this. I'm not sure if you've played it before, but it's super chill. I'm very bad at it though, so I'm gonna die. Nice. The snow shader here is so nice. Oops. Yeah. This game is called the Snö Ultimate Freeriding. Oh, and it just starts. I actually did the Norwegian translation for this game. for Norwegian Nynorsk, which is perhaps the best language ever made. If you go to options, you can see here you have language English, Norwegian bokmål, Norwegian Nynorsk. Amazing. It's going to be super confusing for me to play this in Norwegian because I'm thinking in English now that I'm talking in English. So yeah, there you have språk, vis poenggrensesnitt, umiddelbar sjølvutsletting. Beautiful Norwegian words that I helped djupne skarp like. And then snøggskott iframifrå kvalitet. So that is the Norwegian lesson for today. We're going to set it to English because I get so confused if I'm playing in Norwegian. I wonder what the quality of the game is when you're watching, because for me it's super sharp. And I'm playing in... I'm actually playing it in 360 hertz, I think. Let me just see how many... Oh, I need to die first. Yeah, I'm playing it in 360 hertz, so for me it's super smooth, but for you it should be 60, I think. Absolute propaganda, yeah. It's propaganda for Norwegian and Nynorsk. If you're a true fan of the channel, you should learn some Norwegian Nynorsk. It might be the most beautiful language available. Oh, I completely forgot to use the parachute. Oh, there are some new icons here since last I played. Does anyone have a really high score in this game? If you have played it before, I would love to try and beat your high score. Oh. OSPRM. Sorry I'm late. What is happening here? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, we are just playing a video game while I'm rendering. So, you're the first Norwegian I've heard speak positive about Nynorsk. I won't be the last. We're on a wave, a Nynorsk wave. It's coming back. There's actually an interview. I did an interview for Norsk Målungdom, like a Norwegian youth for language. And I think it will be possible to read it in a few weeks. I'm not sure. So Nynorsk might be... I mean, we can pretend that bokmål is superior, but we all know that if you don't love Nynorsk, then... No, this game does not have music. It's just a game that is based on finding the flow. And I'm not sure how loud it is for you, but I can really hear like the snow and the wind, and it feels really nice. Doesn't feel so nice to die, but... Wait, isn't there like a drone mode? How is that? Oh yeah. This is so cool. Oh, difficult to... Oops. Yeah, let's try the peak of the week. Nice, let's try it. I wonder what the high scores are here. So this is the same mountain for everyone, I think. Oops. Did you learn Nynorsk first or after bokmål? I learned Nynorsk. It's based on where you live, and I am from the west coast, so the west coast of Norway. So that means that you're pretty much guaranteed to speak the cultural language of Nynorsk. If you have... How is the... I've forgotten the trick, the buttons for tricks. Is it shift? No, it's control. Okay. Nice. One thing that this game just nails is that I want to ski. I really want to do it, like, right now. But it's no snow anywhere, so this game is perfect. I need to make some grease pencil effects. Oh, sorry, Yasso, if you're writing the same comments over and over again, I have to give you a timeout. Do you speak French? I had French, so I know how to pronounce words, like, really well. I should probably be able to convince someone that I know French, I think. But now I've hyped it up, so I don't want to speak now because too much pressure. But I might speak a little bit French one day. Wait, isn't there a... Let's see the leaderboard. 3000. Yeah. 3090. That's my previous GPU. He never answers me, lol. Game made by you? No, I haven't made the game. I've done the Nynorsk translation, the Norwegian translation, and then I know the people that have worked on the game. They are really cool, Studio Gauntlet. So you should buy the game, actually, if you want to support local developers. I can highly recommend that you buy it because it's actually so much fun. I'm talking too much and being distracted right now, but just playing this game, it can, if you put on some music and just sit on Discord and talk with people, this is such a nice thing to play. Like, let's say you're queuing for some ranked games and you just want to have something to do. It's actually really nice to just because there's no stakes here. And so on. Oh, I was just about to die. 11,000. Dude, I thought you were doing a tutorial. You made me think I was late for class. Yeah, I was doing a tutorial, but we're rendering that result now. So if you're watching this in the future, you can just go back and watch that. So I want to play something else because I have some plans. Let me show you. Yeah, we're still rendering. Let me see if there are some artifacts on the render here. We're halfway. Yeah, no artifacts yet. I think this will be good. Because I had this other game. Townscaper. This one is really cool. I think this is made by one person. So here you basically... Yeah, let me start a new one. Have you tried this? It's actually super fun. Because you can press and you can just build like a thing and then build more. It's a very satisfying game. What's your favorite anime? I haven't really watched anything. I've only watched Pokemon, does that count? And Death Note. Oh, there's a mobile version for this. Yeah, the sound design in this game is so nice. Let me see if I can crank up the volume here. Yeah, so you can basically make your own house or... Oh, there are birds. Is it possible to make grass? Does anyone know? What happens if I just make a bunch of... Oh, you got benches. Very... Can you make... Oh. I wonder how... Oh, you get a tower as well. Nice. Can you make with overhang? Cool. And it goes round. Okay. Perhaps we can make a different color. Change color, yeah. Oh, we made like a boat. Oops. Sorry, birds. Blue house. Oh, so if you have enough houses, then it just becomes... I think you can import 3D models from this game. Yeah, I think so too. You can export. Yeah, you can export as OBJ. So maybe we should do that when we have created something cool. I can hear my computer working. Can you make windmill on the back? How do you make windmill? Can you make that? I thought you could only make... Oh, there's a telescope. I was able to create like a park sometime. Oh, it's a star shape. It's probably an intersection of this grid here. Nice. Oh, you get a beach. Have you tried the new MetaHuman in Unreal Engine? No, I haven't. The grass appears if you have a space surrounded by houses. Okay, so I'm gonna make a bunch of houses then. No, we should have a different color. The sound design is so nice. Oh! Very nice. Yeah, let's make it a little bit bigger. For those just joining the stream, by the way, we're just doing a little bit of casual Friday gaming here while I'm waiting for the render to finish. Because we have done some procedural... Oh, nice. We've done some procedural shader things today. Where's the grass? There. Oh, and then the new... Oh! You, you get fences! I need to make it a lot bigger. I wonder what happens if you... Okay, this is gonna be nice, I think. It's probably made with mouth. Yeah, the popping animation is so satisfying, I agree. I want to make it a little bit bigger. I feel like I should make text. Text. Gaming while rendering. Oh! No, it's rendering. Can we gaming while rendering? Progress. No. Time remaining here. No, we don't need to add that. Just gaming while rendering. Like this. What's the name of the game? It's called Townscaper. Yeah, and it's possible to export OBJ, so I want to try that when we have something cool. Oh, this is nice, but we won't get the... Oh. Very cute. Very cute and cozy. That is, the bushes are alive as well. Oh, and you can make like one house there and it becomes like with a bench and so incredibly charming. Very well done. I want to make it even bigger. It's so much more chill to play a video game than render or like work in Blender. I feel like I was rushing a little bit earlier when I was explaining things. I wish you could have grass and then really big surfaces. With like, I would like to have the grass like go into the sea. You know what I mean? Is this multiplayer or multiply? I don't know. Can you maintain left click so you place from faster? No, I don't think so. If you just click and drag, then you just hover around. I'm not sure if you can hold control or alt or anything. No. Oh, that's a nice house. Perhaps that should be on an island. Oh, it's so cool that it makes these, like if you make it, then you get the, yeah. If you make the thing, then you get the... I'm pretty sure you can make custom textures for this. I've seen a lot of people making custom houses. Yeah, I saw there was a image file when you export this that has the texture. So we should be able to have a look at this in Blender when we have a design. So let me just... Oh, nice. Oh, that's so... I wonder what the rules are for the... So incredibly cozy. Oh, if you just take one... So now I guess I would have to make something like this. Yeah. That's not worth it. Let's just keep it grass. Oh, a big house. I like it. Very charming. Did you just play the Stranger Things theme? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember how it goes. No, I don't remember how it goes. Make this in Blender with geometry nodes? I mean, if someone were to make this in Blender with geometry nodes, that would be amazing. Oh, at some point it just becomes... I wonder... Can you make like... Will it be grass inside here if I do this? What? Why is that happening? Oh, that's very cozy. Interesting. There are some rules here I don't understand, but I very much like what's happening anyways. So this is like the town hall in the center here. Yeah, look at this. That's... Is that better? No, I liked it better when it's open like this. What are different colors on the left side? Yeah, you can change the colors of the buildings. I'm too bad. I should be doing that more. Okay, we have 11 frames left, 12 frames, so we're almost done rendering. Nice. This was a very charming game. I wish it was a bridge that kind of went through. And now it is. What a game. This game is called Townscaper. Yeah, and I'm just gaming while we're rendering, so we're almost finished rendering. Nope. Let's have a... I'm about to press Ctrl Z. Oh, it works. Okay. Oh, we should have a one that goes here. It very quickly becomes very cozy, I think. Can you imagine living there and just having access to this place? Oh, that's a lot of bushes. Oh, the render is finished. Nice. Okay, I'm going to try to export this as an OBJ and just see what we get. You see that? I wonder if this hash is deterministic. So you basically have a bunch of letters that are summarizing, because it's only binary, like we're just choosing if a grid should be populated with data or not. That would be cool if that is actually how it works. Okay, so I'm going to quit the game. Yeah, this game is called Townscaper. So now our render is finished. I'm going to turn off this and this. So now let's have a look at our render. By the way, I have also a game called Tiny Glade, but I haven't tried that before. So if you want to watch me play that, please let me know, because I haven't tried it, so I'm not sure. I feel like that's the same style of games. It's like a procedural thing. So let's have a look at the render. Oh, yeah, okay. Nice. Oh, I wish, I think I wish it started a little bit, there was some more life to the rising animation. I feel like this is like a starting point for a more interesting animation, but it could be used for... This Shockwave was surprisingly cool, that you get like a Shockwave transition going from a grid into this. It feels like a particle system a little bit more. And it should loop as well. So, right? Can I full screen it? Apparently not. Oh, I can. Yeah. What player are you using? I'm using the CineSync Play, which is a really nice software. Maybe some rising music could help. Yeah, I think so too. I think what I would like this to have is a... Oh, how can I hate full screen. Let's do it in not full screen. This, if it started like a little bit like it got like a janky animation, then it started going, so it was actually being pulled up. Because now it seems to be just slowly rising. I forgot to look at the keyframes there, which I probably should. What player are you using? No, wait. Would love to watch only gaming session and appreciating the art in any game. Could be. I'm not sure how much I should be gaming on this main channel though, or if I should... I don't know. I was thinking it could be a thing where we casually game a little bit after a render is finished, or after a tutorial. And maybe I could even unlist the stream or something. So it's only like, if you were here for the tutorial, then you'll get the gaming session as well. So I'm not bothering people that aren't subscribed to like gaming content. I don't know. We'll see. But I wanted to show you how to upscale this. So what we can do is that we can open Blender, and we can make a go to video editing. If we import the image sequence, this one, and we have the correct frame rate, Now if I render this out as a video file, if I go to the here, if I set the output to FFmpeg video, and then we go down to encoding and we change it to, I like to use MPEG-4 for example, can do H.265 and then 12-bit, and then let's just do lossless. So this is a nice, now we have a lot of data to work with here. So let's keep the resolution the same, up here, same resolution. And then let's set the output to just be on our desktop. And I'm just gonna call this pattern version 1 preview. Oops, I forgot something. We render this at 50% resolution. So that means we also need to set this to 50%. So now if I press F12 here, yeah, this will be the same. So now we can go Control F12 and we will render this out as a video, and then we can export it as a, and then we can upscale it. I'm going to show you can upscale it. You're looking good and healthy. Thank you. I am healthy. I did pull a wisdom tooth yesterday, so I'm not super healthy, or not completely healthy, but I'm still recovering from that. But it was a very easy removal tooth. My dentist was very good. Okay, let's open up DaVinci Resolve, and then I might have some projects that I can't show you yet, so I'm just gonna put my camera in full screen here until I have opened the software. Because we're using DaVinci Resolve 20, by the way, the studio version. So I'm gonna show you how we can upscale. How about you make a Cyberkraken 2? Interesting. I've always felt it could be very fun to make like a jellyfish animation, something like this. And I feel like a Cyberkraken could be like a smaller version. So let's just make a project here. Upscaling. Okay, so now here we are in DaVinci Resolve. This is the paid version of DaVinci Resolve. So if we go to import media, if we go to our desktop, here you can see we have our pattern preview open, and I changed the frame rate to that. And now if we go edit project settings, and we can see that we are in 4K, for example, we can take the pattern preview, pull it into our timeline. And since we are in the paid version of DaVinci Resolve, what we can do, we can right click, clip attributes, and you can set it to super scale. And you can, for example, go 2x enhanced or even 4x enhanced. So we did it in 50% HD resolution. So if you do 4x enhanced, okay. Now we're actually upscaling this into 4K, which is kind of crazy. I actually haven't tried this before. Let's see if... Let's do 2x enhanced first. Okay, so this is 2x enhanced. Can we even see... Let's see if we can compare these. So let's just disable it first. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more oomph to the colors here. Maybe like this. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I'm just making a little bit nicer. So let's try and just export a still here. Export desktop. I'm just going to export the still. And then let's do a 2x enhanced. Like this. And let's export a still of that as well. Yep. And then let's do a 4x enhanced. So we're upscaling it all the way up to 4K. Now I think we need to wait for a little bit. Yeah, perhaps it's loaded now. Right click, grab still, export. Okay, so now we can compare these images. So if we have this one. Okay, so here we have an HD image. No, it's half HD. So this is 960 by 540. Is that correct? No, this is going to... Yeah, this is wrong. We need to look at this one. It doesn't say because it's an EXR image. But that should be 960 by 540. Yeah. Were you... Oh, wait. Were you attending Kind of Art in Copenhagen last year? People were talking about you there. Oh, no, I wasn't. Huh. Sounds fun, though. Copenhagen sounds nice. Haven't been there. Okay, so here's the... Yeah, now we can compare. So this is the half HD resolution. And this is HD. And this should be 4K. Okay, so now we're looking at the 4K version, HD, half HD. I don't think it works to upscale it to 4K. Look at this, it's too like organic. These are supposed to be round, so I think it's guessing too much. I think the scaling it up by twice the resolution, that's okay. 4 times, too much. Yeah. So let's set it to, let's do an HD render then. Set it to HD. And then let's set it to 2x enhanced. So now we can render this as an animation. Maybe we can add no, yeah, let's render this as an animation so it's a little bit higher quality. So if we just want to quickly render it, you can go quick export and just H265 master. I'm just going to save it to my desktop and then just what was this called? Patterns upscaled 2x version 1. Yeah, so now we can export this. So now what we can do, we can compare this. So if you go to Blender, for example, we can open up compositing and we can import the video files. Perhaps we can do this. Take this one. And then we take this one. Wait, shouldn't we be able to see image? Why is it just gray? Oh, it works. Okay, nice. So, yeah, okay. Scale. Scene size. Didn't that work? Render size. Okay, and then we need to set it to... I'm so stupid, I forgot to add some color grading. So we need to do another version without the upscaling. Patterns 0x version 1. Okay, so now we can take 0x in here. And we can compare. Yes, okay, so now we should be able to do... It's kind of difficult to tell, actually. This is the wrong... Okay, so now we should be able to... Oops. How can you only have the, yeah, let me just move it over here. Okay, so now, is anyone able to tell the difference? Hey Polyfior, do you recommend Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve for sound design? That's my only problems with renders. I think I recommend DaVinci Resolve for pretty much everything, because I don't think Adobe is doing the right thing. If you can get away from Adobe, you will change as an artist in a better way, I think. And it's difficult to put words on it, but just using Adobe software, it does something to you. They are not on the side of the creators. There's something about it that is not my cup of tea. Okay, let's zoom in here. How do I zoom in? Is it V? Yeah, it's V. Okay, so we're twice zoomed in here now. It might actually be difficult to see the transition. Can you see it? So here you have Now it's the HD version. No, now it's the half HD, and now it's HD. So half HD, HD. I would say it's worth it to do it like that. Here you can see the line is right here. Right now it's right here. I think this is worth it. If you are doing a half HD render, it's worth it to just superscale it with DaVinci Resolve 2x. Because there's something, yeah, like you get more data if you want to preview it. So let's have a look at the video files, for example. You can see here, this one. Okay, I'm not going to look if it's the upscale one or not. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell. So this one is not upscaled. So here's the upscaled one. Can I do both of them so they will just play on loop? No, now they're both opened. Can you, like, VLC? Can you just take two video files and it will alternate? Okay, yeah, so now it's alternating. Yeah, it's alternating now, so I can full screen this. Okay, nice. Yeah, so now you can see it goes... first, it shows you the... Okay, so now it's the half resolution version, and then it goes into the full resolution. I'm not so happy about the color change now. It seems forced. Yeah, I can move up here so you can see it a little bit better. What if you change the color of the light based on the wave? The blue turn into orange following the wave, and once it hits the edge, everything turns green. I feel like it's difficult to understand, but I think my brain might be fried now. It's getting warm. The blue turn into... Oh, I understand. Yeah, so like a color changing shockwave. I think that would be better. Yes, I agree. Then you would also get like a depth of the, like, oh, it's a different color back there, you know. I think that would be nice. Yeah, I think it's if you can afford it, DaVinci Resolve Studio is worth it. I think if you're a content creator or an animator or someone who is creating things that requires rendering, their superscale is so good. And this is the 2x. I don't think 4x is worth it. I think it's changing too much, but yeah. So now let me just see, is there something I can... I usually end the stream and then I prepare the project file for Patreon. It takes kind of a while to prepare it, so I'm just going to prepare the project file now actually. So let's call this Procedural Expansion B 4.4. So you know it's Blender version 4.4. So I'm gonna upload this project file as a public Patreon post. So let me just fix this node setup here. So here you can see we have the node tree for the light, and then this will only work in cycles. So I might as well just set the light output to cycles. No, let's just not do that. But this will only work in cycles. So this is the lighting material. And then we also have, yeah, we do have this, no, we lost it. Sphere, yeah. We did have another material, so. How does native HD look to the upscaled? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I should definitely do a native HD render, but that would take like 4 times the time, so I would have to play video games for 4 times the amount. Oh, here's a great question from Yannick Fuga. How do you also deal with being motivated during client projects? You know what? I don't. The most demotivating thing I do is freelance. It drains me in a weird way. not at the end of the project or in the beginning, that's amazing, but in the middle, when you have rounds and rounds of feedback and you get weird feedback like, can you make it more snappy, or can you make it pop, or can you make it more dynamic, or something like super vague, it just really, you feel like you're chat GPT being prompted, like someone is just prompting you. So it's actually been super difficult for me to do freelance recently. I've done some stuff. So yeah, but I'm super happy that I can occasionally live entirely off of YouTube. I can't do it full time. I have to do some freelance here and there, but yeah. So buy my course, you know. Yeah. Do you think traditional Blender modeling creation will always remain relevant with the advent of AI modeling generators? It really depends. Right now, text to 3D feels very limited because describing something with words is such a limiting factor, I think. If you're trying to create a 3D model and you're using 3D software to create that, if you were to try and describe your model with text after you have created it, I think it's quite difficult to be precise enough with language. Easy way to prove that statement is to just test. Give 100 people a piece of paper and they're going to describe an image, right? And then all those descriptions will be different and it's the same image. That's one example. And the other way also, if 100 people are going to... Yeah, I think my brain is fried, but it's also possible to revert that one. And there's something about... yeah, I've been thinking about this and I was thinking about maybe making a video about it, but we'll see. Yeah, so I think I'm not going to jump into the AI discussion now, but I'm not super pleased with the control you have as of now, at least. So yeah. Yeah, I think I want to talk more about it if I can prepare a little bit more, because it's such a controversial topic, you know, because generative AI is inherently built on copyright violations. So it is a difficult technology to talk about without first talking a lot about why it's wrong. So let me just prepare this project file for you guys so you can open it and have a look at it yourself. Volumetric, ground plane. I'm just going through and renaming stuff so it makes more sense. Yeah, we have the pattern size controller and we have the transition controller. It looks really nice in the viewport here, I think. This was a cool setup. Okay, so we can save this. I'm gonna just set this to... By the way, here's a nice trick. If you want to render an animation in the same folder as your project file, so let's say you don't want to specify this, you can just type / like this, and it will automatically save, or you can / and then video, for example, or not video, let's call it render. So if you start rendering now, all these images will be placed in the same folder as the project file. And then you can also use like dot and all kinds of stuff to kind of like go up and down in folder structure. I'm not sure how that works, but I always like to just add 2 slashes. Is this a /? Yeah. I like to add that at the output just by default when sending people project files, because then they don't need to deal with my folder structure and getting like, oh, it's in the temp folder now or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to set this at the render settings that I used, but I recommend that if you open this project file, you should set it to 100% and maybe even increase the sample count as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's make some more room here. Now you can see we are... Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to upload that project file to Patreon in a public Patreon post, so you can see... Yes. Wait, you can make it create new folders. Is that what... Yeah, I think you can use that. You can just add // and then it will create the folder when it starts rendering, I think. Yeah. I did not like what they did with the texture swapping shortcut. Oh, did they bring it back? Or, oh, didn't mean to open that. Let me see. Yeah, I mistakenly opened Resolve again, so I have to wait for it to... Oh, interesting. From Yasso. I remember in the podcast you made with Blender Guru that you don't think AI is that powerful. I think a lot have happened since then. And I think people that are saying that generative AI, like the images created by that, doesn't look beautiful or doesn't look stunning or amazing. I think, unfortunately, sometimes generative AI, it objectively looks absolutely insane. So like the output is not the problem. I think the problem is that it's inherently built on copyrighted assets. And that's a really difficult discussion to navigate, I think. But yeah, the quality of the output, like if you just strictly judging what is the quality here, some of the generative AI artists, it's phenomenal. And I think it's dangerous, or it's not dangerous, but it's misleading to pretend that it's not. You know, I understand that people are upset about AI, but yeah, let's not talk about AI that much. I don't. I want to be prepared. I want to make a dedicated video about it, I think. But yeah, I wanted to try the swap nodes thing because you said it was Shift S. Oh yeah, switch type 2. This operator is removed due to the change of node menus. A native implementation of the function is expected in the future. That's the second Blender version. So that's, I wonder when is the future. But if you go to here, to the surface, you can just change it here. I've talked about this before. But with the Shift S switch type 2, is that a Node Wrangler hotkey? Yeah, okay, it is. So I'm not sure who is developing the Node Wrangler, but perhaps someone is willing to take a look at this, because this is, I used this all the time when it was available. And now I just go over here and change it there, but it would be nice to be able to do it here. Okay. I think we should... oh, nice. It makes me happy to see this. It is a nice render, actually. So I'm going to post this project to my Patreon. Maybe I'll also upload the upscaled version as well. You know the differences, so you can see the difference between the upscaled. You can see the difference between the upscaled version and the non-upscaled version. Yeah, so I'm gonna upload it to Patreon. It's gonna be a public Patreon post, so it's gonna be a link in the description if you're watching this video in the future. And now for my next video, I will be creating something with this guy. So I'm very, very excited about my next video. It might come end of next week. It might also be a little bit later. We'll see. I'm working super duper hard on it, and it's. I hope you can tell when you're watching the video that I've been really caring about the video, I think. So also, maybe if you're watching this in the future, because I'm about to end the stream now, I mean 1 minute maybe. If you're watching this in the future, maybe you can leave a comment what this robot could be called. I've just called it the Polybot, but perhaps there's something else it could be called. It has a circuit board texture, so it's like a little bit sci-fi. And then it has a visor that can kind of change with the animation. And it will be used, I can tell you this much, that the next video will most likely be about patterns and symmetry and maybe a little bit rhythm. So, yeah. So if you want the project file, you can check out the link in the description. And please leave a comment what you think this character should be called. Because I think it would be cool to make it like a mascot or something for the channel. I don't know. I think that's all. I'm gonna go full screen now, and I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope... also, maybe, is there some game we should play while rendering in the future? I don't know. Please let me know. Devendra, hello. Yeah, you were a little bit late, but yeah, that's good. Okay. Thank you for watching the stream. I hope to see you in the next one.